OU gets back on the winning board against the University of Kansas, and we have to talk about it. But before we do that, please go ahead, hit the like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys thought about this game. Sorry I'm a couple days late on it. I was at a wedding on Saturday, and I've been trying to recap a lot of these college football games that happened on Saturday, on Sunday, and Monday. So it's just been crazy. It was fun, but let's talk about the OU Kansas game. All right. So first things first, let's talk about Dillon Gabriel, because I think this man just showed that he is the most valuable player to the Oklahoma Sooners. This offense tremendously took multiple steps forward with Dillon Gabriel back at the helm after missing about 7 quarters. And you have to ask yourself what this season would look like if Oklahoma would have 3 losses, if Dillon Gabriel would have not got hurt early against TCU, and maybe if they were able to go beat Texas with Dillon Gabriel. However, the games were played. You can't discredit those games. OU lost them. They have 3 losses on the schedule. OU can only play with what's ahead of them. But here's the thing. I'm really impressed with Dillon Gabriel this season. And I wrote down a couple stats for you guys here that I kind of want to bring up, because I know a lot of you guys get upset with Dillon Gabriel because sometimes he overthrows the ball, right? It doesn't look like he's 100% clicked with some of these wide receivers. And I want to kind of talk through this. So, through Dillon Gabriel's first 5 games and 1 quarter, he's thrown for 1,618 yards, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception, and has a 65.1 completion percentage. Now, the quarterback that everybody was so high on last year, Caleb Williams, pretty similar stats. So I actually went and pulled his first 5 major games, or 5 starts, whatever you want to say, and he threw for 1,229 yards, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 68.8 completion percentage. So on the whole, pretty similar to the numbers that Caleb Williams put up. More yards, 1 less touchdown, 2 less interceptions, 3% less on the completion percentage. But overall, I think when I look at those 2 comparisons, I'm going to take Dillon Gabriel. Now, that's not me saying that Dillon Gabriel's going to be a better college football player than Caleb Williams, because I think Caleb Williams' potential is endless. One of the best college football players I think or one of the best quarterbacks we're probably going to see in a long, long time. The thing is, Dillon Gabriel isn't those guys. He's not the Baker Mayfields, the Kyler Murrays, the Jalen Hurts, the Spencer Rattlers, the Caleb Williams that we've had in the past. He's Dillon Gabriel. And I was talking about this on Ty's show on Monday. If you guys have not went and checked out Around the Table Sports, please go check it out. But one of the things that we discussed on his show was how I think that with Dillon Gabriel coming from UCF with less talent, obviously he missed almost all of last season. There's probably a little bit of an adjustment for him, right? I would expect there to be some rust, and I would expect Dillon Gabriel to have to adjust to having better talent around you. If you go out and you throw to, guys that weren't recruited by hardly anybody and 3-star wide receivers, maybe some other, low 4-star guys, coming to a place like Oklahoma where you got 5-star and high 4-star wide receivers, it's completely different. The talent level is completely different. How you distribute the ball is different. And so I think there's an adjustment period here for Dillon Gabriel. And I expect Dillon Gabriel to be back next year, right? I expect him to be our starting quarterback next year. I expect to see Jackson Arnold, General Booty back there competing with Nick Evers for the starting quarterback position and QB2. And I expect Dillon Gabriel to look much better next season than he does this season. In fact, I actually don't expect to see a huge mass exodus from this team to the NFL draft or the portal. I do expect to see your typical guys graduate, and I expect to see some guys hit the portal, but I don't think you're going to see as many as what we saw last year, right? I think you're going to see OU be able to retain a lot of talent, like maybe a Marvin Mims and maybe a Theo Weiss, because maybe they need one more year under their belts, and they understand that Dillon Gabriel was not able to, be as dominant as a quarterback as he could have been, just because he had to wear off some rust and some other things. But ultimately, Dillon Gabriel has proven to us that he is that guy. Now, he did throw one interception in this game. Now, whether you want to blame him for that or you want to blame Marvin Mims, we're not going to play the blame game, right? A mistake was made. You've kind of got to get up and you've got to get through it. I think he put the ball on the ground at least once. But looking at some other bright spots on this offense, Eric Gray. What is there not to say about this guy? Eric Gray has proved everybody wrong this season. He went out there and said, all of these doubters, everybody that's talking on me, look what I can do. And he's shown it. And I think Eric Gray is proven, and I think everybody else will say that too, best back on the team. 97 attempts, 695 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's got 14 receptions for 105 yards. He's averaging 7.2 yards a carry. I like what Eric Gray's putting out there. Additionally, I like what we got at running back too. Again, you get to see Javonte Barnes go out there with another solid outing. 72 attempts this year, 316 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's only averaging 4.5 or 4.4 yards. Here's the deal. He's a true freshman. He's only going to get better, right? If Eric Gray decides to go to the league this year, which I would expect he would, you've got a guy like Javonte Barnes who can actually step up and feel running back one. Now, that's dependent all on Marcus Major, right? If Marcus Major gets healthy and he's able to stay for another season, I expect to see Marcus Major potentially take over running back one. But you guys can jump in the comments and argue over that one of who's the better running back, Marcus Major or Javonte Barnes, and who would get running back one if they both, or if Marcus Major decided to come back next year. I think it'd be really fun if Eric Gray came back next year, but we all know that man's going to go get his money, and rightfully so. All right, so I want to talk about this offensive line, because I really think the offensive line has been a little under-talked about, right? Under-talked about, is that the right word? They haven't been talked about as much as they should have. And I really think you're starting to see them gel and mesh together as the season has gone along, right? Early in the season, you saw them make mistakes, and then you saw them have that great game against Nebraska. But unfortunately, with some of the lackluster quarterback play that Oklahoma has had, they've kind of just not been able to be in the spotlight. And I think you're going to be able to start to see that over the next couple weeks, especially with the bye week being this week and Oklahoma getting an opportunity to get healthy. And this offensive line next year could be even better with some of these guys. So your seniors on here are Robert Congle, which I would expect if his ankle is better, he's probably going to take that role from McCade Matauer, or Matauer. I don't know how you say his last name. You have Kyle Ergenbright, which he's not playing really. So outside of Chris Murray and Bray Walker, I think pretty much everybody else is going to return. I think Wanye Morris has the COVID year. Somebody will have to jump in the comments and correct me on that one. So I think Wanye Morris probably should return, get another year under his belt. Going to have Andrew Rame here. You've obviously got the two stellar freshmen, Jacob Sexton and Jake Taylor. And then you've got guys like Tyler Guyton and Anton Harrison. Now, I think Anton Harrison has a huge potential in the league. But again, why would you not stay for just your extra year? Stay your extra year, get developed by Bill Bedenbaugh, and then go be a guy like Creed Humphrey or Cody, Corey Brown or Cody Brown? Then you've got Orlando Brown with the Chiefs. You guys know I love my Chiefs. So the offensive line's played really well. I think we have to give it up to them. They've probably been the most consistent piece for the Sooners going forward. But let's go ahead and let's shift to the defense real quick, because I know a lot of people are disappointed with the defense once again, but I don't think this 52-42 score really tells the story about how good the defense played. And I know that sounds a little weird to be saying that, but I think the defense actually played pretty well. They were able to get off the field on third downs, right? Kansas was held to 5 of 11 on third down efficiency. You still want to see OU be able to get anybody off the field on third and long situations, but at least, they weren't getting that high third down efficiency rate. You allowed 430 yards, but, again, some of that was coming in garbage time. So it's really just your passing game. If OU can get in there, they can fix the passing game. This defense is going to end up looking a lot better, right? You allowed 265 passing yards, 9.8 yards per attempt, only 165 rushing yards. I think this defense, as the season goes along, you're going to continue to see get better and better and better, especially after having a bye week. But you look at some of these touchdowns, like the pass to Lawrence Arnold. I mean, one, Bean just, I think, put that in the right spot. Unfortunately, that's just, 9 times out of 10, that's an incompletion. Unfortunately, you were just on the wrong side of that 9 times out of 10. So congrats to Lawrence Arnold for that amazing catch and having the awareness of where the ball was. But you just got to see guys like CJ Colden, right? He got the interception. He looked really good. David Agwebu got a sack, 2 tackles for loss, 8 total tackles. Danny Stutzman, he had a pretty good game, 7 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss. This team last week had 8 tackles for loss. It's pretty good. And then you see Deshaun White. He got himself in on the action. He got the interception. You're starting to see this, right? I feel like we're starting to see, especially now that Brent Venables is supposedly getting involved a little bit on the defensive play calling, or at least helping the defense out in practices. I think you're starting to see maybe that shift a little bit. We'll see as the weeks go on. Iowa State has a horrible defense, or a horrible offense, but a great defense, right? Oklahoma, not a great defense, great offense. Was really impressed with Ethan Downs. Really curious to see what that injury looks like for him, if he's able to return. I tweeted at Ethan Downs and Nate Downs. Nate Downs said that Ethan will be back, so we'll see about that. But he had 1.5 tackles for loss. 3 total tackles. I'm really curious to see what Ethan Downs becomes. I really like this kid and him coming off the edge. I really like what he's able to provide for the Sooners. And I think if Ethan Downs is able to just get back there a little bit more, man, he's going to be good. But then you got to see some of the young stars today, right? You got to see Robert Spears-Jennings. He was everywhere, all over the field. Robert Spears-Jennings is that dude for us. You got Jaron Kanak. He was out there today, 2 total tackles. You had R. Mason Thomas, which R. Mason Thomas, guys, that guy's a man. He's good. OU fans should be glad that we were able to get him and that flip from Iowa State. He's a guy that could have caused us a lot of problems. Now he's on our side. And those are the guys that OU has to be able to consistently go out there and get. Overall, I would probably give the offense an A in this game. I'd give the defense probably a C. And again, I don't think the story really tells based off the score. So that's why I'm giving them a little bit higher. I do want to see a couple more things out of the defense. Again, I kind of want to see just a little bit better tackling and things like that. But there's a lot of good things and a lot of good foundation pieces for the Sooners to go and build off of going into the bye week. And then next year, there's a lot of good key foundational players here, right? We've talked about it. Kanak, Robert Spears-Jennings, R. Mason Thomas. You have plenty of other freshmen. And then you've got Grayson Halton. You've got other guys coming in off this class. We're going to be fine, right? This year is a year just for Oklahoma to retool, get the system down. You're going to see an Oklahoma defense next year that's going to be ruthless, but also as an offense that can go out there, score in a flash, but then also control the game as well. So let me know what you guys think about the Sooners' 52-42 victory down in the comments below. We have the week off, so it's time for us to just go enjoy some time at the lake or to just watch some other college football games. But you guys can check out, I've got a show coming out on Friday breaking down the college football games for this weekend. So please go ahead and tune into that or tune into some of my other videos below.